names this offseason. A name that was a hot head coaching candidate for a long time was Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier. He had interviewed with the Giants. He had interviewed with the Chicago Bears. He had been a name brought around with a lot of teams. The Buffalo Bills defense was ranked very, very highly, and Frazier was very well respected in NFL communities. That was before his debacle against the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, giving up 42 points to Patrick Mahomes happens sometimes, but the big collapse of surrendering two big completions in the final 13 seconds with the game essentially won, playing that really, really soft, easy zone for quick seam passes to first to Tyreek Hill and then Travis Kelce was inexcusable as a defensive call. Right now, there's a lot of concern going around. Looking at one team in particular, the Chicago Bears, who were ranked very highly in terms of potentially getting Leslie Frazier. Frazier played there for the 85 Bears. There's now a lot of worries right now. Most of the Chicago Bear blogosphere, all the sports blogs and pundits in the Chicago area are not happy about potentially bringing in Leslie Frazier after his performance against Kansas City as defensive coordinator. What are your thoughts? Do you think teams should still go after Frazier? Or do you think he blew it and he's not ready to be a head coach again?
So listen, I don't think Leslie Frazier's defensive prowess should be in question, but I do think his head coaching prowess should be in question because there are two things that I hate: cover zero defense and soft prevent zone when all you need is a field goal to tie the game. Okay, you can't do that. If you why don't you just play the normal number one ranked defense that you had in the NFL when all they need to do is get in field goal range? You play this BS prevent zone defense, allowing like 19 to 20 yards per catch that allowed the Chiefs to drive down the field, get in field goal range, and inevitably win the game. Like, you didn't even get a chance in overtime in that game. You didn't get a chance. And it's all because of the poor decisions that you make on the defense side of the ball. Now, could we say, yes, they could have gotten beat over the top by a Tyreek Hill touchdown, but I would rather take that chance and lose in that fashion than lose in the way that they did in overtime by playing a soft zone, letting them kick the field goal, and then not even getting a chance to touch the ball. At least you give yourself a chance at that point. I hate prevent defense, and it just looks like a bad decision-making ability for Leslie Frazier.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So one of the important, arguably the most important thing for a head coach is game and situational management. This is where Bill Belichick is legendary. Belichick's going to Hall of Fame for his ability to teach situations and manage situations. This was a terrible job by Leslie Frazier in the Bills game. It's one thing to play a softer defense, but to use a baseball analogy here, like you said, the Bills had the number one defense in the NFL in terms of yardage and points. They were a top flight defense, arguably the best. They have two all-pro safeties, a solid front seven. They had guys everywhere that could make plays. Now, I understand, like you said, like it's Kelce and Tyreek Hill, so you're worried about those guys. But let your playmakers make plays. You've got the guys. Put them in situations to make plays. Both of those throws, the first to Hill, the second to Kelce, it was surrender. It was like no defender had a chance to make a play. It's not like you said, it's not like Tyreek Hill beat you over the top and outran you and just made an amazing play. Both throws were, the quick screen to Hill for an easy 20 and the quick seam to Kelce for another easy 20. The defenders, based on the coverage they were called, had no chance. They couldn't make the play. Leslie Frazier didn't allow his players to make the plays to potentially win the game. And that's huge. For a head coach needs to know when to give his players a chance to make those plays. And he didn't. And like you said, I don't think with that mindset that Frazier showed there, I don't think he's ready to be a successful head coach again.
Yeah, there's more to coaching than being good at your position. Or you're not your position, but you're half a third of the team.
Yeah.
If you're a great special teams coach, you can't just be great at special teams. You can't just be a great D coordinator. You can't just be a great offensive coordinator. There's more that comes into being a head coach. You've got decision making, you've got time management, you've got people skills, you got to be a leader in the locker room. There's so many other factors that come into being a head coach. And Frazier kind of disappointed on one of the big ones, and that's situational management abilities here. So yeah, if I'm the Bears, I'm a little bit worried too. I at least take him in, talk to him. We got to see. Maybe he's your only option. But what a way to go out on you know, the biggest highlight of your career to hopefully get that big head coaching gig you've been looking for all these years.
Yeah, especially after the way, so when, Frazier was in Minnesota for a few years, and it obviously didn't end well there at all. He had kind of rebuilt his image as being a high quality defensive coach and a great game planner and understanding personnel and things like this. But after his performances down the stretch against Buffalo, against Kansas City, he has lost all of that. I mean, you had former Bears. You remember Lance Briggs, former All-Pro for the Chicago Bears. He came out publicly. I mean, this is a former NFL player talking, saying he doesn't want Leslie Frazier coming in to be the head coach for the Chicago next season. I potentially think the Bears should listen to guys like Briggs. I don't think Frazier's ready, and I don't think any team should bring him in to be the head coach.